Ow. I think we're live. Yeah, we're live. Pull my earphones out of my ears. That fucked. All right. All right.
You're cutting in and out for me, but that might be a mic thing because it doesn't sound laggy. I don't know.
It's probably just where I'm sitting. Like I was moving in and out, that kind of stuff.
Okay, now it does sound a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. Shouldn't be too bad. I'll watch the stream and let you know if anything comes up. You're cutting in and out.
All right. Leaf Blade Mouse subscribed. I guess I should check, make sure I'm in the right mic because this did update. So, always good for that. Podcast Thursdays, let's go. I was gonna share this around. Share this around the internet. Oh, no, I'm gonna sneeze. That's super awesome. Three Voids, Summon Biscuits. How we doing, everybody? How we doing? How's everybody's night been? Or morning, I guess, depending on where you are. Afternoon? Evening? Other things? Oh, my voice, yeah, it's my voice widget here.
What about it?
It was Discord. Doing some funny things. All right, Speedy's here. Bartanian with the tier 1 sub. Subscribed for 20 months. Very cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I don't got my music, my beats going right now.
Oh yeah, Blart's baby is sick for the first time, I think.
Oh,
maybe.
no. Baby's got a fever. Baby's got it. Well, my daughter's sick too. I've been sick for the last week or so. So I hear you. Yeah, so watch out, if the fever gets too high, because there's so you know what's happened. Kind of interesting. There's several respiratory viruses that generally go around in infants and toddlers that are really bad right now. Endovirus, rhinovirus, RSV, and some flu bugs. And one of the reasons they're so bad is because these kids have never gotten anything. They've been basically isolated and wearing masks for the last 3 years. So we have a whole bunch of little kids without much of immune systems. So yeah, so you watch out if you have little people, and just keep them hydrated. Check the temperature, make sure it doesn't get too high, and bring them in to get some help if it is something. But yeah, there's not much you can do with the respiratory bugs that are going around. You just kind of have to wait them out, and hopefully they don't get too bad, because they can get bad, especially in little kids. Not to freak you out, but just to be vigilant. I'm sure you are. New parents usually are. More so than us, old parents. We're like, just walk it off. Walk it off. Yeah, I got mine hooked up to oxygen and the pulse oximeter and getting albuterol treatments and compression vest treatments, and so believe me, I get it. I live with it. So it is scary. It's the worst thing. It really is. I mean, it really is for sure. So yeah,
Are you guys on stream hearing Mark okay, or is he coming in and out? Because maybe I have to fucking restart. Something might be wrong on my side.
Yeah,
Stream.
can you tell us if the audio is coming through okay, or if we're spotty? Blart says that I sound clear. I'll
Might
keep
be
talking.
me then. We'll see. Hang on, I'll be right back then.
Yeah. Yeah, it might mess up our schedule because my daughter has a surgery that's planned at the end of the month, and apparently she won't be able to have it because she's been sick and they want 4 weeks of recovery time. So, so we have to wait for her to recover, and then probably basically quarantine her for a month. So it's just it's life. But I got older kids now starting up. I got baseball happening and band and choir and all these extracurricular activities. So busy. And so I thank you all for your patience. Yeah, extracurricular activities do suck, Blart. Thank you. Thank you, Livestream Raw Life, for the subscription. There's a hype train, so if you want to get aboard the choo-choo hype train, it's hype train time. Woohoo! God, I was playing. I've been playing all day, catching up on content here, and that's not true. I've had meetings and went to get lunch, and I actually had a whole bunch of stuff. But I have been trying to catch up on content here today, so got a man with machine gun stuck in my head. Man with the machine gun stuck in my head. Chat, you're quiet. A little too quiet. Did we freeze? Make me nervous when I don't see anybody talking. Make me nervous. What's happening? My whole computer go down. Oh no. Oh no. Am I still live? Oh, am I not live? Are we live? Are we live? Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Hello. It says we're live. It says we're live. Are we live on YouTube? Yeah, we're live on YouTube. I couldn't my YouTube. I can see the chat. It's been too long. It's been too long. Oh, thank you. It's been too long. Forgot to do this. How do you do this? How do you podcast? Anybody know how to podcast? Send help. Must podcast. No, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Folks, I'm just, I'm a little torn up about the Queen. I'm trying to get my emotions in check here. Trying to get my emotions into check. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. All right. Well, how's everybody else's defo life been here? Just watch the fireside chat. They'll teach you. Oh, it's been a long time since a fireside chat. Shadow Heart. Oh, my stream. Oh, I'm in the wrong stream, aren't I? That's one of the problems. I'm looking at the wrong stream. I have a thing that does a multi stream, kind of lines everything up for me. And I was only looking at one of them. That's why things, as I look at my screen here that is a lot more things that I'm not picking up. I'm sorry. Shadow Heart's talking on here. On YouTube, I think. Ooh. Yeah, fade into gaming. Only missing Sabin. Yikes. Shadow Heart, did we co-op earlier today? I think I co-opted with Shadow Heart. One of those rare times that I was doing co-op once every week.
My shit is definitely blinking. I don't know. Oh well, I'll roll power through.
All right. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll try our best. Chat says we sound okay, so do the best we can. All right. Well, hey, let's start the show. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome everyone to episode 206 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. We're so glad to be back from a couple weeks off, just chilling on the beach, relaxing, nothing going on in life as the world keeps turning. But we are back to talk all things Defo. Have not been on since the Squex community stream, although I had several videos on the YouTube channel to keep us busy. Spoilers. Spoilers on the thing there. Yes. So I'm your host, Mark, if you forgot. It's good to see you all. Thank you all for being with us tonight. And I'm not alone. I am joined by my good friend and yours. It's Mino Spellgood. Mino, how are you doing?
Doing good, Mark. It's been a pretty chill month in regards to Defo, and I'm just focusing on other things right now. And I was just telling Mark before the stream, like, I don't know why I've been crashing, like, right... What do they call it? The 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock,
yeah.
Something. Fuck, there was a term for it. I forgot.
Yeah. At the afternoon come down. What there is a official. Somebody let us know. What's the official term for that? For this. It's the afternoon slump or something. I don't know. Somebody look it up.
Slump?
Somebody Google that for it. The lull, the afternoon lull.
That doesn't sound real. I don't...
That's not a word. But I hear you. Nap time. Yes, nap time. One of the broadcasters here in Chicago for a long time who did ag and farm report when it comes to stocks and stuff. Many years. He was a big proponent of taking the afternoon nap, laying down for 20 minutes, getting up. And then, you can do the power nap where you drink a cup of coffee, then you lay down for 20 minutes, and then you get up and you're ready to go. Because it takes about 20 minutes for a cup of coffee to kick in. So, unless you're all hyped up on caffeine, had like 40 cups. So yeah, or you can just get more exercise and eat better, sleep more. Those are also healthy things to do. But I feel you there. I'm still not recapitulated to the school schedule, plus now my kids got things going on at night. I got a lot of stuff going on at work, so I mean, like the first week of school I had meetings every single night, and so I'm not caught up to that. Early mornings, get up at 5, stay up at 5. Last night I was out until 11 at a baseball game, so yeah, it's I don't know how much you can, I don't know how much exercise and eating right and sleeping, there's not much to sleep, but you can only do so much. But what you can do, Mino and chat, and all of you joining live on YouTube and Twitch, thank you. Remember to like, sub, ring the bell for notifications. If you're listening later on the podcast, thank you. We want to remind you that this podcast, episode 206, is brought to you by your friends and our friends at Manscaped. Manscaped is your hub for all your personal hygiene and care products. So we had a couple stories about Ultimecia running around doing things. Renoa and Lunafreya going out of their way to be there for their men. You know why they do that? Because Noctis and Squall use Manscaped. Just like famous actor and comedian Pete Davidson, new spokesman of Manscaped, surrounded by beautiful people all the time. Why? Because he takes care of himself. That's why. And you can too. Go to manscaped.com. TCC Pod for all your needs. 20% off your entire order at checkout. Enjoy. We sure do. All right. Thank you for subs. We got some subs. Welcome back, subs. Really, really appreciate that. I mean, we can do subs for polls. I don't know. We got a lot to talk about. So throw stuff at us. There's things I haven't pulled on. I don't have Yuri's kit. I have his FR, but I have the FRs. I don't have his BT or his LD. How you doing? Destros here. How you doing? But thank you. Leafblade, Mouse, Blartanian, and Lifestream Defo Raw Life, all subbing. They got together, the Lifestream gang. We're going to shout them out later. Thank you for that. A couple updates in the game world. The first is regarding Mog's Gym. So there's this thing called Mog's Gym. You probably haven't touched or looked at for a long time. It's really a beginner's tool. You get some fine rewards there, outdated rewards at this point. A lot of new players probably haven't even touched it because you get a lot of free rewards anyway. But it is, the current iteration is going away on the 30th of September. So if you want to get those rewards, Mog's Gym undergoing recession. Yeah, Mog just could not afford with the inflation, the way the inflation is. How could he keep a gym open? Come on, people. You know, the overhead for a gym during the pandemic, it's not great. It's not great at all. So, really do make sure you clear out that Mog's Gym before the 30th. Health code violations. Pom-poms everywhere. Got a long show if this is how it's going to be, folks. But clear that out, and then they'll have a new Mog's Gym. Like Toys R Us.
Is Toys R Us back?
Yeah, they're reopening some locations or rebranding. There's something going on with Toys R Us. It's very exciting. Or not, I don't really know. I do kind of miss going to toy stores, but at the same time, like, every single store is a toy store. Like if you want to get Pokemon cards, there's like 400 different places you can get Pokemon cards. It's ridiculous. It does make searching for them a little fun, though. Ash and Pikachu already collected their batch from Mog. Oh, no, the Defo League. Also, regarding iOS 16, which is an operating system for the stuff, make sure your game's backed up before you upgrade in case there's any issues. Which means there might be issues for all you people who like upgrade to iOS, the newest iOS, like the immediate. I don't know who does that, but apparently some people do. So make sure that you're doing that. There were some reported bugs, and I think you scroll down a little bit, you can see regarding unexpected app closures during co-op quests. So I did see some people on our Discord experience this, that the app is closing during co-op. Mino, did you have any experience with the app closing during co-op?
Luckily, I have not run it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do enough co-op probably to run into it, but
what's a lot of co-op nowadays? Because I think I run like one bell
a week.
No, sorry. 15 minutes worth. I run 5 bells per co-op.
Yeah,
I guess that's not a lot, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Like, yeah, one set of one bell or excuse me, one set of bells, one book, 15 minutes per co-op. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, if you're having that, stop co-oping. You don't need to clear everything in the shop, that's for sure. There also the Cloud of Darkness had that little bug that was fixed, so you can't abuse Cloud of Darkness anymore. You did get to use her on Dare to Defy for about a week in her event, I guess, but Cloud of Darkness is fixed. Camelot is not fixed because he's not broken, apparently. And we did get Squeck's community reward. So that is the news of the day. Was there a Cloud of Darkness? Yes. Yeah, Cloud of Darkness bug. Yeah, right. Cloud of Darkness, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Cloud of Darkness was able to be abused similar to Camelot, and that's not how she was intended to be used. So they fixed it. So hooray! It was pretty broken though, so it's pretty fun actually. All right, well we got
you did try it then. Sorry, you did try the combo.
Yeah, Guys, no, I used it.
My timing is so horrible. I must be lagging. Everyone else is saying it's fine. So if my timing is off coming in today, I'm trying to keep silent and wait for the opportune gaps here, but I definitely feel like I'm operating a little slow. Sorry about that.
We'll work through it. I'll have good long pauses. Pierre will edit that out. Well, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to do all the characters together, take a break, then do all the events together because we have 1,000 things to cover. So let's start with the C90s. Mino's Discord feeling the 3 p.m. lol. That's a good one, Blart. It's a good one.
Who said that?
That was Blart. That was good. So, the characters that got the C90 updates, that would be Yang, Lion, Seven, Kuja, Gladio, and Yuffie. I'm not going to go over them in great detail. Yang is the counter character, character, not counter. Lion, who knows, she does like 6 different things that aren't real great. Dispels and some damage and this and that and the other thing. Seven's an interesting multi-element character with a specialized debuff. Kuja, the holy enchant and peril damage dealer. Gladio, the cover tank counter character, back in a big way. And of course, Yuffie, the debuff manager herself and best farmer in the game. I still hold to this day. And I have a 5 out of 5 ultimate throwing weapon, so I've been using Yuffie a hell of a lot. I would say Gladio is really the winner of these comeback characters because the big tanks coming back are always updated. His counter ability, which usually was like 12 turns or something. Now I think the buff lasts for 8 turns, so he's not running out, so he can counter throughout the fight. He's awesome in, I think it was the second part of the chapter event, where the bosses delay you. That's if you can get Gladio delayed to oblivion, that's awesome, especially if you're using Reno and Gladio, and then eventually Core are a freaking awesome team. So Gladio's back in a big way. I know a lot of people have been using Kuja, and I've seen a lot of Yangs thrown in there. Not really seeing a lot of Lion or Seven representation. I've been using Yuffie because I think she's fun to use. But yeah, in Shinryu, there's not usually, unless you need her gimmick, she's not usually the greatest character to use. So Mino, any of those characters catch your eye?
Yang and Gladio are the big ones, I think. I don't think anyone uses Lion. I don't think anyone uses Seven. I'm surprised you use Yuffie. Gladio, I haven't had a chance to use much just yet because I've been playing with other characters, but I know he's like very, very strong. And there's a lot of evidence of him in Reno teams, so I look forward to using him. Yang is very good. Well, yeah. Don't forget Gladio's greatsword.
Yes.
Very, very popular ultimate weapon. So very good pickup. And Yang with fists fists are gonna come up soon.
Yep.
You know, you've got the Tifa hype on the horizon. Others as well, but Yang is a very, very strong follow-up character. And I'm probably going to be running him in a few things too. Like if you miss Kane, I'd say this is it, right? Like for follow-ups for
well, if you missed
future,
if you missed Cisne and you missed Kane, Yang is a good option because you're
Cisne sucks. Compared to Yang right now, Yang blows Cisne out of the water.
Well, I'll have to run the 6-man with Yang, because I used Cisne as a follow-up. So
nobody has a thrown Ultima weapon. All right,
just me. just me. I do. I have a 5 out of 5 thrown weapon that you all made me make, so that's why I'm using Cisne. But yeah, Yang's going to be good with that fist, and everybody should be working on fists for Tifa anyway, because it's Tifa. Why wouldn't you? Then we got BT pluses, and that would be Ultimecia and Eldnarsh. I don't have either of them BT plus. I've seen a couple people use Ultimecia. I just can't imagine she's super great at this point, although she does get that extra use of her kind of cool BT plus effect. But I know, Mino, you've been using Eldnarsh, so how is Eldnarsh running?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's just my own bias, but I mean, like I've used Eldnarsh for the last 2 fights for the 6-man and the part 2. I went back to do part 2 with him as well, and it's basically just Eldnarsh, Reno, and Kane, and I'm not sure if it's just because these fights favor it. I don't know how long it'll last,
Right.
but right now, he'll cap out Reno's FR, that's enemy turns. These 2 fights have a lot of enemy turns,
Yep.
and he just capitalizes on that by locking them down, and because of his rework, he can use skills during his warp turns now, so it's a little better.
Oh.
I saw some discussion. People were saying, oh, well, he only has like 3 dumps, it can't be a lot of damage, but it's don't forget they're free turns.
It's free damage, yeah.
Yeah, it's free turns, so it's more spread out over a few, as we'll see with Vayne coming up soon. There was a lot of Vayne discussion happening now. And also, he can hog all 10 turns of a force time, for better or for worse. Some people like that. I'm using it, so. But I don't expect everyone to green Eld and run him with blue armor, Ultima weapons. So I'm not gonna sing his praises, but I'm having fun again.
He is a special weapon, right?
Yeah, unique.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unique weapon. Yep. Did I miss Kikyo? No. We're going to talk about Kikyo here in a second. So we have 4 new FRs, but one of them is a new character. So let's start with the new FRs on current characters. And that does start with Final Fantasy XI's Kikyo. Great storyline. That's the only, because I never played Final Fantasy XI, but I've watched all of Inuyasha. That's all I can figure is Kikyo and Kagome and Inuyasha from the Defo world with Noel and Sarah and Iroha. So Iroha comes back with a FR. If you're not familiar with Iroha, she is from Final Fantasy XI. She is the Shrine Maiden. Like Kikyo. She heals, she batteries, she is a magic attacker and support character. Her gimmick is the Brave Floor that she had initially. So everybody, Brave Retain. She retains the Brave. She's not a Brave Floor character, she's the Brave Retain character. And she does get a new FR. Removes party debuffs. They do things. I always forget FRs do stuff when you hit the button. Heals, and then it ups when active members' current health is at 100 or more at the start of a turn, and then goes up when active members' current brave is over 20% at the end of the turn. Obviously, that condition works with her Phoenix Favor mechanic. And so, generally speaking, at the end of anybody's turn, you're going to get 50% up. So it's not a terrible FR, actually. And because she is a non-elemental character who has a great LD effect with that Phoenix Favor and that Brave Retain, she is a really good pickup, I think. I know a lot of people are skipping, but I don't have her fully built, but I do have her FR and used her a little bit just to kind of play around with her. And I think you're going to see a lot more use of her, when we get into kind of some elemental lockout eras coming up. But for right now, I think she's a really solid character with a decent FR condition. Pretty easy to hit that FR condition with her in your party. So not a terrible FR to press. Mino, any thoughts about Iroha?
You've covered most of it. Very, very generic FR conditions, makes a great character right now. It's tough. From what I've seen, a lot of people are trying to save resources now. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people went pretty hard early on, and then again for Dare to Defy. And now that that's gone, people are hyped for Tifa and Renoa in the coming months. So it's Iroha's like right on the border of what I would recommend. I think she's a great character, above average character. I don't know if I'd recommend it to everybody, but definitely if we get hit with Dare to Defy again,
Yeah.
God willing,
Yeah.
great pickup, right? Like,
Yep.
because this is someone that could fit in to any team, basically, and just fill a great FR condition for lockout fights. So we'll see. Great pickup if we have more lockouts coming back.
Yeah.
But if not, and you're saving for like the BT characters, I get it. I can't really tell people away from meta because it works. It works, and people apparently really struggle on Shinryu from what I'm reading. So yeah, Iroha's not going to be your savior, but as a second string character, as somebody I would bring in when I have no other no meta options, she has great healing. By the way, I believe she heals on
Yeah.
three skills. She has that rework now where I believe the EX is a free instant. It was the EX or the EX plus, right? You can chain
Yeah.
them now,
Yeah.
which is very, very nice. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then obviously the Brave Retain or refund, it's just a lot of these FF11 kits are just loaded, right? They're just loaded with versatility. I love them.
Yeah, so I think she's a good pickup too. But obviously, if you are saving, you can get around her, especially if you went full on some other non-elemental characters and supports, uh, like Charlotta. But I think they really do offer some different things. And as Mino said, hopefully we have some rotating lockout content coming in the future throughout the Shinryu era. And I think she will come in very, very clutch. Especially if we are in a month where you have multiple elemental lockouts and you need to do something like Dare to Defy, she will be a great. So if you have some extra tickets, even just try to get one copy of her FR or her LD. Even her LD call is really, really solid. Well, that brings us to Sabin. Sabin comes back with his FR. If you're not familiar with Sabin, he is a magic attacker because he's got the magic hands. And he also has delays and batteries and ignores defense. He is also dual element wind and holy. He comes back with his FR, which does something. Ignores defense, woohoo! And gives party ignore defense during force time, which is kind of cool, actually. But to get his damage up, you have to do both wind and holy damage on your turn. And if you do that, it's 60% up, which is kind of nice. But for that to happen, you either have to find ways to get him a lot of consecutive turns. And of course, he doesn't have a BT. And you can kind of use Lunafreya to do that. But you're not going to get him 10 turns in a row. And so trying to enchant your party both holy and winds, because there is no dual enchanters for those two elements, does kind of suck, I think. I know a lot of people who love Sabin are disappointed. I do not have his FR, so I will defer to someone who does, and that would be Mino. Mino, what do you know about Sabin?
Sabin is hot garbage, man. This has got to be, I think, hold on, I'm looking at all the FRs for the month. I think this is by far the worst FR this month. And it's just so fucking bad. And I'm so mad at BC for lying to me. I don't even want to get into the other lies, because you just reminded me all the other lies BC has told me this month. Like, oh, get Charlotta for lockouts, but also get Iroha for lockouts. I can't run both of them. I'm not running both of them to skip elemental lockouts. I'm just gonna play the fucking element that they need. I don't know. Like, I'm just throwing my resources away. I'm pretty sure it's because of BC that I have no power stones left. Literally, right now, I have no high power stones. I'm sitting on 21 regular power stones. I'm fucked now. Thanks a lot, B. This is why you shouldn't, religiously follow should you polls or content creators. But anyways, Sabin's hot fucking garbage. I've gone over this a bunch of times, so I know the points. really well. As you pointed out, really well. Um, his FR condition when you hit both is 60%, which is pretty decent. But the only person who's realistically hitting that without an enormous amount of setup is Sabin. And Sabin is a slow piece of shit, so he's only gonna get he's probably not even gonna get half of those 10 turns once he pops his FR, right? Like he's probably not gonna see a majority of those turns at all whatsoever. And then people will talk about the setup where you get holy and win enchant on a DPS character to drive it. I've tried this strategy, and first of all, it is a lot of setup.
A lot of setup.
Massive. It's at least 2 calls, and if you're gonna pop this FR twice, which I feel like is normal in these recent, right? I don't know about you, but I've been popping at least 2. Yeah, at least 2 force times per fight. So if you want to do it twice, like you need 2 calls to get it off once, then you need like a summon and a call to get it off a second time or something. And then at that point, Sabin sitting in your party doing nothing but providing the FR. He doesn't have any auras or anything. He's not really doing much, and he feels like a wasted slot. And then all this work for 60% when you could realistically just cam cheese for an 80, or there's other characters that are already getting close to that, right? Like I believe I tried a COD team part 2, and it was getting very similar numbers. You get the off-turn breaks and stuff, like very, very close with way less setup. I don't know. Sabin's FR condition is ridiculous. Then you're being sold the defense ignore enchant, which I'm not a big fan of, because unless some fights coming up magically have enormous defense, I feel like that's just never a focus anymore. High defense. I feel like people are blowing through that with high force time percentages, right?
Yeah.
Like it really doesn't feel like it matters anymore with all the batteries and the bravery funds and stuff like that. I can't think of the last time I felt like defense was a notable enemy stat that I had to pay attention to. And it's not even like on demand as say Locke's BT. Like, or you have to wait for the force time to charge all the way up, and then you have to use his shitty force time. So I'm not sure that justifies it at all. And then last but not least is we keep getting warned about these elemental lockouts coming up in the near future, and Sabin is locked to double element on everything he does. So I mean, like, we're already being warned that Yuri is going to get shut out hard by these lockouts because he's holy. Well, Sabin is double elements, doesn't have a BT, doesn't have auras. So, you know, he's going to get hit even fucking harder. So I just feel like he's just a completely useless character at this point. I don't think you should use his FR. I don't think he does enough damage to justify bringing him as a damage dealer. And I don't think he has a future because he's tragically locked to double elements for now. And as we know in JP, that's bad juju for quite a while. They just announced that Twins FR, which will give you a big boost for hitting dual elements in a single skill. So maybe there's a future for these characters, but for the next 8 months, being locked to elements is definitely a negative. 100%. No contest.
Well, as a palate cleanser, I believe it was, Excalibur. Shout out to Excalibur, doing great content on YouTube, on DissidiaFFOO, on Discord, on Reddit. Great stuff. Pro tip by Excalibur, Mino: trade your power tokens for 15 CPs and then sell those for power stones. There you go.
That feels like a way. How many power? Because I have about like 250 power tokens. Like, how much are the 15 CPs? How many power stones?
I have 650 power tokens. I don't have any. I don't because I have everything. I don't have anything in here. Let's see. How do you change it here? Sort by. Here we go. Passive acquired. They are 10. So you can get 4 power stones for 40 or 100, or 10 for 100. So I could get 65 power stones at the moment.
Okay, yeah. See, that's garbage. That's like
It's not a lot.
what, 2 high power stones?
Not a
Like
lot.
that's not even 1 LP. That's not.
Something to do with those extra tokens. Are a mixed type damage dealer, doing holy damage, gravity attacks with a little bit of battery, healing, party support, debuffs, traps, kind of everything. Jack of all trades kind of character. New BT. The BT does brave damage up, brave damage limit up, pretty significant. HP damage up and HP damage limit up, pretty significant. So all those good things that you want in a support BT. And the slow. We forgot. We haven't been talking about. Oh man. We'll start with this one. I won't go back for you, but we'll start with the FR partners, Mino. So just be thinking about the FR partner here for Yuri. So the FR for Yuri and Chelinka are Sloga Bomb, and that is a gravity attack, and it is increased when you do holy damage, just a little bit. Much more if Yuri does holy damage, and then if the active member HP regens. So on Yuri's turn, it's about 60, or no, it's 55%. On another character's turn, it's only 35%. So it's not the best FR. He can run it if you want to run it. He can run it through his FR, through his BT. So you can use it if you need to use it. But you're generally bringing him for the support and the BT effect at this point in the game. His FR partner is Hallam. So, Mino, before I let you talk about Yuri, I'm not super excited about Yuri. I just don't see it. Somebody else can tell me how great he is. I just don't. It just doesn't sit with me. But why is his partner Palom? Pretty easy one.
Yeah, it's a very easy one. They're very disappointing little brothers.
Yeah.
Right? Like very, very big fuck up. Family black sheep.
Yeah, why wasn't the only complaint I have about the FR animation here is why wasn't Porum and Palom in the FR with Yuri and Chelinka? Because it wasn't just like Yuri and Palom, that would be fine. Because in the game, in Defo, they have this relationship. So if it was just the two of them, but Chelinka's there, so why not have Porum and Palom? I don't know. Just a design flaw. But what are your thoughts on Yuri as a character in this game, kit-wise?
I don't know. This is the first FR I've skipped since Desh. So if anybody in chat wants to chime in, please feel free, because we're just talking theory now. But I don't see any strengths he brings outside of just enjoying the way he plays. Just a note that holy condition is off turn, so you could milk that a little bit. Yeah, you could milk that a little bit. It's pretty decent, and as you said, any BT character can drive their FR. Most of it, so like it's fantastic. So the BT character FRs are never terrible, so I don't mind it often. He also has the 100% evasion for the party now on his burst effect. I don't think you mentioned that, right?
Oh yeah, the blind. Wow. Yeah. No, that's enemy,
which is very cool.
Enemy blind. Yeah, that's Indolent Lard. Thank you for the subscription. 7 in line. Main prizes of September. Keep living the life there, Indolent Lard. Keep living the life. Yeah, no, I completely forgot that. Yeah, he has the 100% hit rate down or blind effect.
Yeah, so he does a lot of like funny things, right? And then I know people have been discussing his funny gimmick of activating his trap, where he builds up stacks, and if he uses special HP plus, he can activate it, and now it's this great big hit in FR time, etc. Like there's like nuance to his play style. I think it's pretty cool, but like power wise, he's not bringing anything game changing. So you got to skip somewhere, and this was my chosen skip for this month, just because Sabin's a favorite, so I was locked into that. Eldnars is a favorite. I threw 1 million resources at that. I'm like tapped out here. So like I had to draw the line somewhere, and Yuri just at this point, I don't know how you've been playing this month, Mark, but without like Dare to Defy and just playing at a more casual pace this month,
Yeah,
I'm just like, there's too many characters. Like I said, I think Iraha
100%.
and
Yeah.
yeah, Iraha and Gladio are fantastic characters, but I just haven't circled around to using them yet. I built them and everything, but there's just so many characters compared to the fights. These constant free reworks are crazy. I can't possibly use all these characters. But right, Yuri is interesting. I don't know about powerful.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we can come back to that idea of this month and just the play style without D to D and everything else. But yeah, I don't think I think there's a lot of potential if you really want to invest in him. But at some point, yeah, you got to pick and choose, and it sounds like both of us have chosen to probably not invest. Although I do have his FR, I don't have his BT at the moment. That brings us to the brand new character. Easy to use, fun to play. Lunafreya, everyone's favorite protagonist from Final Fantasy 15. That off-screen character that probably had a much more interesting game than the we got to play, doing a lot of fun, cool things, and then got stabbed. Spoilers. I mean, not really, because it's in defo. So Lunafreya is a big old support character that can. Well, I mean, let me just walk through her kit because she's a brand new character. Skill 1 is a free turn, instant turn, heal, battery the party. I mean, it's a great charger. It's a great healing, great battery move. Press it over and over again. Real solid. Skill 2 is a damage attack. That's her, just her kind of base attack move. Her EX, again, is one of her attack buttons. All these things give her buffs, and then put the she does two dual elements as well, ice and water, and so she does ice and water resist down. Her LD that's where the bulk of her kit is, and really, again, everybody should probably be chasing her LD if nothing else. I think her whole kit's worth it, but her LD is where the meat of her kit is. Her LD is this instant turn, free turn, that basically, depending on where she sits, gives her special buffs and gives then her ally special buffs. I believe how it works is if she is on or allies to the left of her, so if she is on the far side, the two characters to the left, they get a special buff called let me see, it's Heavy Prayer, and that's the damage up buff, and HP damage deal extra true damage. So brave damage up, HP damage up, and true damage on top of the attack. So that's the damage buff. If they're on the right of her, it's the quick prayer, which is a brave damage and HP damage up, but also free turn, instant turn, and also a free skill ability as well. So the heavy prayers for the damage, the quick prayers for multiple turns, which is great for burst setup and everything else. Now, she does have this overhead ability that is a stacking ability that goes up once every time she acts. And she immediately gets when that hits 4 stacks, she immediately gets the option to use one of those for free. So she can give someone quick prayer or heavy prayer using her upgraded brave or HP plus at will when she gets to 4 stacks of her trident buff, trident of calling. So she's really good. She can really help manipulate turns. Man, in 6-man, she is bonkers crazy because you can just swap her in and out, give everybody crazy buffs, give people extra turns. She's stupid in 6-man. Really a lot of fun to play. And so, it doesn't necessarily matter where you put her because you can utilize her well and utilize both buffs. But if you really think about where she's going and what your team needs, you can really, really set up some really cool things there. Her burst effect is kind of, again, standard, solid burst effect. Brave damage up, HP damage up, Brave gains up, Overflow up, Brave damage limit up, HP damage limit up. Solid stuff. She's doing a whole bunch of party buffs just sitting there. She enchants the party for ice, brave regen, HP regen, brave damage up, HP damage up, overflow, brave gains, brave damage weakness, or brave damage limit up, elemental weakness up, attack up, max brave up, I brave up. Yeah. So then with her FR, she enchants the party with water as well. So she can dual enchant if you use her FR, and it is true enchant for water enchant. But that's just in her FR. And her partner is Rydia, so we'll get on that in a second. She ticks her this is the slap into the face to Sabin. She ticks up the damage if someone is doing ice damage, brave damage, or they apply a buff to an ally in their turn. So because she enchants the party with both elements with her FR, everybody is doing at least 40% on their turn. If they also are doing damage and applying a buff, which many characters do in addition to her, you can do 60. So it's not the best, but it is it can be a lot of fun manipulating that. But you're probably bringing her more so to set things up. If you do use friends because you're weak, you can swap her out for a friend and just kind of use her to charge the gauge, set things up. If you're not using her in your party, her LD is really good because the LD gives the people to the right quick prayer, the people to the left heavy prayer, and gives themselves both quick prayer and heavy prayer. And so that's going great into that can give you an extra turn to set up for a burst phase, and then get you into a burst phase with the heavy prayer up. So really, really solid character. But I really think she's been a lot of fun to play, and you bring her into content like the 6-man, you can really bounce around. But I've been enjoying using her. I think she's just an interesting character. Obviously, she is dual element as well, so that is a concern moving forward with her in the party. But her LD is still bonkers awesome. So, and doesn't enchant, so you don't have to worry about that. You can just take advantage of all the good stuff with her LD call ability. So, Mino, why is Rydia her partner?
Oh damn! You gotta help me out here, Mark. You gotta help me do some lifting. You tell me.
Yeah.
You tell me why Rydia is her.
They both like to get impaled by water snakes.
Holy
Is that
shit.
what happened? No, that's not what happened.
I don't. Oh, okay. That wasn't a euphemism. Okay.
No, they both summon Leviathan. They both summon
were...
Leviathan, right? So they're both summoners. They summon
Indolent
Leviathan.
Lard says Furious Spray is a very weird name for him. Hold on. Before I get into this, I promised Fen Ragnarok to share the interesting lore he had as one of the 3 people that played Yuri's game. He says, to answer your question of why Porum was not included in the animation Chilinka is, he says, I think the reason why Chilinka is in the FR animation is because Yuri himself can't reliably cast magic. I think it's even referenced with his gameplay where if he doesn't have Chilinka with him, his skills will burn through his HP. So to make sure Yuri doesn't die during his team attack with Palom, Chilinka has to assist him.
He is that weak. He can't even do anything without his sister. Yeah, so what are you wow. I didn't even look at the name of the ability. Her animations are really cool. They really like her apparently because they spent a lot of money on her animations. Her animations are pretty cool. It makes you wonder, like who?
I think newer characters just have prettier animations.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. But yeah, like her animations are. But like Kor's coming up. He's a new character, right? Like his animations aren't bad, but like there's a lot going on in Lunafreya's animations. But what do you think about Lunafreya, Mino?
Wow. I feel like whoever designed Lunafreya really, really knows what defo players want because one, she's primarily an aura bot, and defo players love aura bots because that's one less character they have to learn and think about. They usually just like their turn hoggers and the 2 buttons they press. 2, they love consecutive turns and no turning the boss, and nobody enables that like Lunafreya. To be able to give other people consecutive turns, holy shit, that's a strong power. And 3, they love follow-ups, and she enables that as well. You put the heavy on her left, you put the follow-up character, and just have them go to town. That being said, even for such a quote unquote meta character, people in chat are talking about just she's like the definition of meta. I think she's very fun to play. There's some nuance there as to how to maximize her her auras and stuff. I really like how she plays. As you're saying, there's a stack balancing where she can keep refreshing the prayers. Her positioning matters. I've run teams where both both of her teammates are on her left.
Yeah.
Or both are on her right, like it's all viable. It really affects the gameplay. You can really change how your team plays by how you position her. And as you said, the real hype is her LD call, because when those lockouts do come, she can still use that benefit without taking a party slot and without enchanting and really throwing it on people. And it's just it's so amazing to set up with the 3 consecutive turns of quick prayer. Like, you are correct. Like, some characters need some setup. That eliminates all of it. Like, I can quick prayer somebody, and then I can have them like BT BT plus for the effect. I can have them pop their like LD for the effect and then go straight to town, right? Like, I don't know. I'm amazed at how fun a concept she really is. Like, it's a lot of team manipulation. And as In said, and I'm going to steal this term now, like, her FR is so generic, Iroha level generic, that it's a great emergency FR. As in, if you've already used the good FR twice and the fight's not over yet, this is a great fallback FR. And that's how I feel about Iroha as well, right? Like, these are great fallback FRs. Just pop them, and you're guaranteed to get, like, at least, what,
40
to 500?
Yeah, you should be getting 40 a turn, yeah.
Yeah.
And probably more, because a lot of characters do give buffs that you don't even realize about, so. And yeah, I mean, in the 6-man, jumping in and out of positions, you can manipulate her in and out of positions really well. Having her and Charlotta in your team, you can basically bounce them around the entire field with their free turns and their instant turns. Because every time you use a free turn button or a skill 1 for either one of them, you can refresh and you can swap out. So they can literally bounce all over the field. It's kind of fun doing that too. But
Excalibur also brings up that for 6-mans, it's very good to use quick prayer to set something up and then swap them out immediately. I don't know. Yeah, it's just such a great move, right?
Yep. Yeah, no, Laguna, just in general, Laguna really likes quick prayer. Because setting up Laguna has always been the problem, because you want to get his, if he's in your party, you want to have his LD and his BT, and so there's some characters that need a couple turns still to ramp up, that their rework still haven't given them like everything instantly. Most characters that's fixed. Like, most characters you don't have to pray, everything's already going in some ways, so you can just kind of start it. There's a couple characters you do want a couple turns, and she's really, really good at that. But yeah, I did that in the 6-man. Gave Laguna quick prayer, set him up and got him out. But yeah, some interesting characters. So let's take a transition. So I said before the show, both or all 3, Raw, Life, Blart, and Mouse gifted us some subs or resub to our Twitch, and so I thank you for that. But they celebrated their birthday. They had their birthday stream a couple weeks ago. I think Mino was one of the many special guests on that show. You don't remember that? I do. I listened. It was really good. So check that out if you haven't watched the anniversary stream. And if you don't know our friends on the live stream, it is Livestream Defo on Twitch, and also Blartanian's Blart Defo on YouTube. He always shares them on YouTube. But shout out to our good friends at the live stream, kicking it for over a year of content. Very, very happy to call you all friends and enjoy what you do on the Monday night stream. So Blart and Raw and Mouse, for the most part, I think, are the team today, with some special guests here and there.
What happened to Somegi?
So Maggie got a real life, I guess. I don't know how that. And Zoe.
I think it's a little. I was gonna actually. You know what? Never mind. I was gonna say. What's going on there that they're losing all their female co-hosts, but then I realized
think about
the
it.
same could be said of
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Don't throw stones in glass houses.
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Be careful. Be careful with that. That's very good. So shout out to Poto Cedar. I completely. Let me just stop in a minute because we had a lot to cover today. Shout out to the Tonberry Troupe. You can check out all the cool infographics on TonberryTroupe.com or on our Discord if you want to check out all the stats for all those characters that we quickly went over. Didn't go through the podcast polls, but thank you to Quetzalma and J.A for helping with the podcast polls. You can come on our Discord or any DeFo Discord and use those podcast polls to see who is pulling and who's not. As you can imagine, just briefly looking at the podcast polls, everybody got Lunafreya. Not everybody got, very few people got Iroha. Almost no one pulled for Sabin. And not many people pulling for Yuri either. So I think, as Mino said, maybe people are a little pulled out, or wait a minute. They're a little tired. It's just going downhill now. Maybe people are trying to save their resources. There you go. So that's the case. But we do have a podcast supporter question. So if you are a Twitch sub or a YouTube member and your Twitch or YouTube is linked to your Discord, you can join a couple special channels. We have a TCC supporter chat, exclusive chat just for you, and a podcast supporter where our TCC intern, Poto Cedar, asks a question. Today's question: on what platform do you watch and listen to the podcast? Good question. So this is Sleuth. Sleuth says, I watch on Twitch. Download and listen to it on Podbean. That's a place you get podcasts on Podbean, and you can listen to the Crystal Chronicles because it's a podcast. Red Kane, always on Twitch. Yep, so you can watch a Twitch video on demand if you can't watch it live. Stray Bead, usually watch live on Twitch, but YouTube when I miss it. Or the website. We do have a website. It is tccpodcast.com. You're
not sure.
It will cycle. I'm waiting for it to cycle. I'm waiting for all of our social media links are on here. I'm pretty sure it's tccpodcast.com. I'm waiting for it. We got a lot of links. Got a lot of social media. It's not. That's not real helpful. Yeah, let's say tccpodcast.com. Because it froze right there. Tree Void says, Twitch to watch, YouTube to gift memberships. Thank you, Tree Void, for all the gifted memberships. K9word, Twitch when live, or Apple Podcast, because it's a podcast. Thank you, K9word. Tudek says, YouTube after the show, because I work the graveyard shift. It's nice to listen on my shift. So very nice. J Terraforce, who asked the original question on the podcast questions, listens to it in podcast form. Daniel says, I'm subscribed on Twitch and a member on YouTube, though I can't watch live, so I watch on YouTube. To be honest, friends, watching it on YouTube helps us the most. Just going to be on there. If you can't watch it live, watching it on YouTube later helps us the most. But it is what it is. You do what you need to do. Like, we're happy that you're listening, you're watching. Yin, I was just commenting on that. Anaconda, watch on YouTube or Twitch. Crush, member on YouTube. I tend to have catch the recording after the time zone. I think this is somebody, talk show or about camgirls.com. Yeah, watch us on. No, that's Camgirls with a K, Goose reminds you. Camgirls with a K.com if you want to watch us live. That's for the camera below the table. if you want to watch on that. That's at camgirls.com. You can see how manscaped things are. MartyrFit25 says, I catch it live on YouTube. Maestro says, I listen to it on YouTube. I think this is Mouse on Twitch. Blart on Twitch. Cedar, where does baby Bart watch? Sir Alex on YouTube. Nimbus on YouTube. Everybody on the YouTube. Blart says she got one of TV's gifted memberships on YouTube from last week. Frog says Twitch Live, or if I miss it, I watch it on the Frog. I watch it alongside my viewers on the Frog Hour. The after show. Spotify. Telehoot says on Spotify. There we go. Lunafreya, YouTube and Spotify. Indolent Lard, YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Thank you. Get those views up. Nidre says, I never listen to it live, but if I do it, I listen to it on Twitch. I listen to an app called Pocket Casts. Interesting. Glorious, or Cross13 says Twitch, and RVK says therifichour.gov. And Multiracial Lion says Twitch. So thank you all for your answers. Obviously, most of you watch us on YouTube or on Twitch, but we do have a lot of podcasters out there. I don't watch the show. I don't know about you, Mino. I take part in it. I don't have to watch it. I am live with all of you.
I'm guilty of watching it on Twitch as we go, just to watch the chat. And I know we always encourage people to move to YouTube, and I do try to pay attention to the YouTube chat as well, but my main focus on the Twitch chat, just because since this is where we came up, a lot of our most active or oldest fans are on here chatting. So YouTube, YouTube audience, I always try to check the chat there too. So please don't think I'm ignoring you guys. If I ever see a good question or trivia there, I'll bring it up on the show as well.
Thankfully, on my software here, I can see both chats simultaneously, which sometimes gets confusing because I see it as one continuous chat, but the people on Twitch don't see the people on YouTube, and the people on YouTube don't see the Twitch. So sometimes the chat conversation doesn't make any sense because it's interspersed YouTube and Twitch. But I do see all of your comments. So, and I tend to respond to them on after the show on YouTube, especially. So, all right. Well, damn, we got 4 events to go through. You want to talk about any of the story this month? I liked the chapter.
You're an actual FF8 fan. You're
I love FF8. So I loved the chapter. I thought the chapter was great. It was a great chapter for.
You should lead this conversation. I saw some good scenes for sure, but I was like, you know what? I'm not a big FF8 fan. I don't think I'm getting the full appreciation.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I mean, a good, again, rehashed story from Final Fantasy VIII, which is what a lot of these chapters do. But it was fun to see all the characters, interacting together, to see Cypher and the disciplinary committee and Laguna stuff, and everybody had to realize Renoa was a sorcerer, and so it was good Final Fantasy VIII stuff, with a little bit of Final Fantasy 15 stuff thrown in there. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. I enjoyed that chapter. I have no idea what the hell was going on in the Iroha intersecting wells. So like I have no I have no idea what that story was about. That seemed to be one of the more disjointed store intersecting wills that we've gotten. I don't know if you paid attention during that, Mino, because you've played Final Fantasy 11. Excuse me.
Not. So maybe we'll circle back to that.
Yeah,
but I was at.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they were doing. Besides, everybody was like crushing on Iroha, telling her how good she was. Kind of weird. But yeah, let's get to the fights. So the first fight was Act 3, Chapter 9, Part 1, Vanishing Scenery, and that was Ultimecia and the cruel, confusing, paralyzing, poisoning monster, tiger, monster thing. She's immune to launch, and she recast her Apocalypse, and then also does Hell's Judgment. The big thing with her is, if you use a Ice Magic FR, you and enter Force Time, that's how you do it. So that's Lunafreya's FR, obviously. We haven't really doubled up on FR conditions yet, so I think at some point we might double up on FR conditions, but at this point, to cancel the FR, pretty much you bring the featured character and use their FR. The big thing with the Ultimecia was she cuts in turn order at 79, 49, and 19%. She warps. She gets 2 free turns, instant turns, just like Ultimecia, the character, does in the game if you're using her. Fills her recast gauge so she can trigger Apocalypse. Other than that, the Coral does status effects if you let it around. But I'm trying to think. This has been so long since I've done this one. I'm assuming a lot of people just blew this up because I don't think she had a terrible. She's 85 million HP, but her attacks didn't seem terrible to kind of prevent or tank. Do you have any recollection of this, Mino? This fight?
My generic statement is I really loved this fight in the part 2 fight because
Yeah,
it really captured what it felt like to fight Ultimecia as we know her in this game, right? Like she had the same mechanics as she does as a player character, but in boss form. I thought that was very cool. I think that's very, very cool that they design it and we can instantly recognize, oh, she's deleting turns. Oh, she's taking consecutive turns. This is exactly very true to her defo counterpart. I don't remember this part 1 because, as you said, this was the beginning of the month. It's been a while. I do remember, as you said, very low HP. I do remember the Coral can do some nasty stuff that I forget now. I think it had a debuff or 2 that you really had to watch out for, but I can't remember.
Yeah, confuse, paralyze, and poison were the 3 debuffs.
Oh, right. Confuse really threw a wrench into some things. I'm trying to remember why. Oh, this is so bad. This was so long ago. But I just know that this was probably the less memorable fight of the last couple of we had. But it was very, very squishy, which is very funny because part 2 is so tanky.
Yeah, there's a lot of HP.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure they took like half the HP from the first fight and added to the second fight. But I do remember, right, as you said, I think you still need some form of mitigation for this fight. You said it was easy to tank, but I'm pretty sure without a tank, you will die. And
yeah, I think it did a lot of people. I'm trying to remember. Did a lot of people you can go if I jump on Discord and look at the clear runs. I want to say, did a lot of people use Warrior Light on this one, or Galif maybe on this one?
Yeah, I know there were a lot of Galifs. And there were a lot of Warrior of Light. It was either
Orin.
this one or part
Orin,
right? Galif and Orin, right? There was a lot of yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Galif and Orin. Yeah, some people just bringing Kane, and some people bringing Reno. Yeah. Again, if you're struggling with that, Excalibur's got the great infographics. We have threads for each one of these things. This is permanent content, so you can probably go back, Gladio. Probably not be a bad choice for that. Well, let's move on to the other, the next fight. Iroha's intersecting will forcefully with dignity, and Fen Ragnarok. Excuse me, got a cough for a second. Fen Ragnarok has a little dissertation here on the Iroha intersecting will. So, because I didn't know what's going on and you didn't read the story. They say Iroha goes on a mini campaign to fix the torsions, which were corrupted somehow due to the instability of the world in Chapter 3. Everyone was there to help, but the biggest help came from Greg, since he can pinpoint the exact location of the corrupted torsions. Greg ends up accidentally getting caught by Cloud of Darkness and gets attacked. Everyone comes in, gets wrecked by Cloud of Darkness. Iroha remembers that the power of friendship is her power, which is true. Funny considering how she came from an MMO and didn't figure that out. And yeah, that's 100%. And he's not joking about friendship is magic, because that's a huge theme in Final Fantasy 11, right, Mino?
Sure.
Friendship is magic.
Is that an FF14 theme too? You know what? It's probably in all the games. What am I kidding?
Well, I mean, it is kind of in the games. Yeah, it is in all the games for sure. So thank you, Fen Ragnarok, for helping us do that. So you fought Cloud of Darkness and a floating eye. The floating eye could do AoE Paralyze. If you use a magic FR that heals an inner's first time, like Iroha, that cancels it. These did not have any thresholds. So, woohoo! But they do some nasty attacks. Both of them do nasty attacks if they get to 100% of their force gauge. Ultimecia cleanses all debuffs, recovers from break, AoE HP attack, guaranteed hit. And then the other thing does the group gaze, guaranteed hit, ignores HP damage mitigation. So, yeah. But you can just rush these things and kill them. They have a little bit more HP than the last one, but still. So either you have to rush them down or you have to mitigate their force gauge, but it's not, again, something impossible to mitigate. It does ignore HP damage mitigation, so you have to figure out some other ways around it. Mino, you remember anything about this fight?
Trying to remember.
I think this is the easiest of the fights we've had.
You think so? Huh.
Don't you think this is probably the easiest of the month so far of these four?
Maybe. I don't know. I was gonna have part 1 in the running for that.
Oh, okay.
And then I wanted to talk about the 6-man. You did it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like the 6-man might be a little harder than these, maybe, but when you have 6 characters, it feels like it should be harder.
Yeah,
so
but
I was saying it feels like the 6-man are getting real easy, right? No?
There's more mechanics in the 6-man. There's a lot more mechanics than in this fight, I think, right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
This fight's pretty straightforward. But the 6-man has a ton of mechanics. That being said, yeah, if you bring 6 powerful characters, it's not super challenging, but you got to figure out how to set it up. And sometimes, people, well, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's just keep pressing on to Act 3, Chapter 9, Part 2. This is the Junction Griever fight, Ultimecia's final form. And not only does you fight Ultimecia's final form, you fight it in both versions of her final form. So there you go. And this does a whole bunch of stuff. Of course, if a player uses a wind magic FR attack in Inner's Force time, which is Sabin, it cancels it. They are immune to Embrave Down. The big thing is when she hits 29% of her health, she completely heals. And so then enters phase 2. So a lot of health in this particular fight. You also have an Irving mannequin who can really mess things up if you're not paying attention. Doesn't debuff you, which is nice, but can do a lot of damage if you're not mitigating that. She triggers Meteor when she hits the FR gauge at 100%. And then you have to deal with her thresholds. At 79%, she will cut in turn order, warp, gain 2 turns for 3 turns total. She will delay all enemies at least 1 turn. Or, excuse me, the boss becomes immune to HP damage, and you have to delay her to allow yourself to do HP damage to dispel that effect. So, she does that at both 79% thresholds, and I believe she does that at the second 29% threshold. So she does it at 79%, then she heals back up at 29% to that, then she does it at 79% again, and then she does it at 29%. So you need to have, right?
Does she do it? Does she do it? I thought she only does she do it the second time at 79? I thought it's just the first 79 and the second 29.
Oh, well, if Excalibur, I think, is still here, or somebody else in chat, I thought it was at both 79s.
I wanna bet it's the first 79, the second 29, because I could have sworn
it may be somebody
said after he recovers health or something.
Okay, yeah. So Sinewave is saying only the first 79%. Okay. So yeah, so she does it twice, so you need to have some delay. Thankfully, there are a lot of characters that delay, like Kane does delay. Fujin does delay. There are calls that do delay. Yeah, lots of different things. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I thought this was a pretty fun fight. You kind of had to deal with the delay, and every time you do something, you can't power through things if you have to stop and do something like delay the character. That being said, there's somebody's FR delays. Oh no, I forget whose FR delays. Maybe Kane's FR? Somebody's FR.
Todd's FR delays. I don't know if you're thinking about somebody else.
I didn't use Cloud of Darkness. But yeah, somebody's FR delays, and I think I used that accidentally. Because I'm like, oh crap, I didn't bring I didn't bring any delayers the first time I did this, and then I'm like, oh, I guess I'll just sit on Kane's EX, and that's what I did. But I thought, yeah, I just Cloud of Darkness. I thought I had another FR. Oh, does Reno's delay? Does Reno's delay? Let me look.
Shoot, I don't remember.
Let me look.
But while you're looking at that, I'll just chat here. People are right, and you are right. I thought this one was once it hits the thresholds, it takes no damage and heals, but the heal was for the COD fight, and I do remember the heals and timing force time. So yeah, no, I forgot how bad that heal was. That did make the fight memorable. Yeah. That's why I was thinking part 1 was easier. I remember, unless you cancel the force time with Iroha specifically, which is a big ask, you have to let them take the turns.
Yeah.
And then they heal a pretty fat amount after. So, did you just kill them before the force time activated?
I have no conception of the Act 1 fight. Yeah, I don't have any.
We're talking about the COD fight and the Iroha. Intersecting.
Yeah, I think I burned through that one without them hitting force time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess it is pretty possible, but yeah, no, that heal was nasty, and it was a fun force time. But sorry, go ahead. You found what you were looking for?
Yeah, no, Reno doesn't. So yeah, I just relied on Kane for delays. It's only 2, so there you go. Yeah, and what? Anything else about this fight?
Oh yeah, no, I love this fight, and I ran it a few times. I don't know what it was. Like, it wasn't that complicated a fight. I was thinking why I enjoyed it so much. The first is you really do have to respect those thresholds.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I'm a big fan of this. I think it was arguing with Tree Void, and I don't think Tree Void likes it, or Sign or some others. We're talking about it. They called it Harden, I guess, where you start taking 0 damage until you do a mechanic we were talking about. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I like it.
I like that,
because you have to time your stuff around. As you said, you had to wait. You had to hold Kane's EX for that, or whatever you needed to do to get through it. And or you had
he had to be on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. He had to be on the ground.
And you had to use his EX.
Yeah. And you have to watch your burst windows too, because if you pop an FR or a BT near there, that's gonna go to waste, right? So I always, every time people say, how do you make a fight harder? How do you make players respect mechanics? I say, pull the fucking Alexander card and just have them start taking 0 damage after 3 consecutive turns or something like that. That'll really make them play. But so that was interesting. You had to respect the um thresholds, but most of all, it was such a tanky fight that you start separating the wheat from the chaff, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't just bring garbage characters carried by strong characters anymore when the HP is this high. Not only do you actually have to bring actual strong characters and actual strong parties, but when the HP is this high, people start like competing kind of to see like, oh, what team can I run that only uses like one force time or two compared to like other people's 3 or 4? Or how do I show off my maximum damage? You know how people love to take screenshots at the end of a burst phase that says like 300 million damage for no
Yeah.
fucking reason
Yeah.
with no context? Well, here's a fight where that would actually matter, right? Because the boss can eat a few of those and live. So like this is a fight where it's impressive that you pull off a big burst window, whereas when you do it on like the stupid Lufania mummies that are immortal and just eat shit all day,
Right.
like that's nothing. So I'm saying like these fights are fun. When they up the numbers, it really feels rewarding when you pull off a big damage combo. Because for example, who did you bring?
For this fight, I think I went defensive. I think I ran Reno and Gladio and and Kane. Yeah, Reno, Gladio, and Kane. That was my team.
Oh, interesting. I think my first run was uh Orin, Kane, and because you went backwards with Gladio, right.
Yeah.
Gladio wasn't out at the
Yeah,
time, so
correct.
I ran like Orin, Kane, Cod or something. And with that team, I was like, huh, okay. So first of all, I need to maximize the force because I think the turn count is decently tight as well.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
80 or 90. I was concerned about it.
yeah, it's 80,
I was
but like I think
concerned.
I scraped like
Yeah.
60 something. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? So like yeah, it's always fun when the turn count actually matters and you actually have to do damage. And I think I reset a few times because I was like, okay, let me pop my big damage after the first threshold. Otherwise it just gets eaten by
No,
that.
this was great for Reno and
Right?
Gladio.
Yeah.
Thank you, CSDX. Oh no, this is Tree Void gifting a sub to CSDX. Thank you, Tree Void. Tree Void reminds us that it was Cell that was talking about Harden, not him. But yeah, this was great because Reno's FR is enemy turns, and when Griever Junction or Junction Griever uses the Meteor, it deletes the target player's next turn. And so at one point, I may have some screenshots of it. At one point, it was like 12 boss turns, and Reno's FR is up. Reno's FR got way over 600. Because I didn't take any any actions, and it's not upticking my turns either. So it was really good. Sitting there and
Yeah, that was fun. I played a defensive team like that too. I can tell you, I can bet that you probably ran in the same problem I did, which is when Kane's in the air,
Yeah.
everyone else is getting pushed back except for him.
Yep.
So he will interrupt that streak and
Yep.
come back down. So, but like right, like I went back with a few teams, and then again when like Eld and Gladio came out, and like yeah, like that's just a fun fight to play with. To really, the hidden factor of that fight is the force time is real fun because they start deleting your turns, and you can really mess with that.
Excalibur is reminding us that Irving's mannequin does physical damage. So it does even more damage up for Reno's FR. So yeah. Yeah.
I had a blast with this fight.
Yeah, I like this fight. This is probably my favorite of the month so far.
Highlight of the make fights harder, Squex.
Yeah,
Pump those numbers up.
Big numbers. Big numbers. That brings us to our second official 6 Warrior Quest, or 6 Warrior Quest Area 2. So how does our little diamond, it's got like a little like overlay around it, right? Didn't it update? The little gem, the little gem next to our names that denotes that we beat it.
I did not pay
Suko
attention.
Can, thank you for the resub. Thank you. But yeah, no, I think it has a little border around it now. I think it was just a plain crystal, and now it's a crystal with like a little enjeweled or like a little gold frame around it. So yeah, it's more crystally. It glows now instead of not glowing. Okay, whatever. It's different. But yeah, in this fight, you fought Dullahan and the Dimensional Zombie Whale. Both at the same time. The force, their force time was canceled if a player uses a holy Magicifar and enters force time. Yuri, obviously. They are immune to paralyze. They are immune to launch. Dullahan casts ruin. And also other things. Can paralyze maybe? There was another debuff that it does. Anyway. So, this fight has some very interesting threshold mechanics that are really stance mechanics. So, Dullahan has 2 stances. The first stance is a no brave gain stance. Player takes HP poison, 20% of their max health. Player cannot gain brave. The second stance, they go back and forth depending on HP, is a counter stance. Does absolute 0, which inflicts 1 turn paralysis. That's the other thing I was thinking of. 3 turns of ruin, then counters damage taken with a attack that inflicts ruin. The zombie whale, on the other side of the fight, has a normal healing stance. Players heal normal. Or a zombie stance, so healing does HP damage instead. So if you have zombie in a Final Fantasy game and you heal, you actually hurt yourself, right?
Yeah.
So they go back. So they start at the no brave gain stance and the healing stance, normal healing stance, 100 to 80, and then 79 to 60. It's the counter stance on Dullahan and the reverse healing stance on the whale, and then it goes back to the other stance, 59 to 40. Then this stance 39 to 20, and then the first stance 19 to 0. You want to see all that? Excalibur's got it in the infographic. Very, very easy. When they hit 100% of their force gauge, they go into force time, and Dullahan triggers his Northern Cross, which freezes all of you, gives you Ice Bind for 1 turn. You cannot act, and inflicts ice resist down. So a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if people struggled with this. We do have a lot of options because it's 6-man, so you can really set it up in a lot of different ways. I saw most people burning it down, kind of managing the first 20% and then just destroying these things with really well set up force time burst phases. Whether they were using Terra, Tidus, the Cam Cheese obviously doesn't work because you cannot launch them. But Terra and Tidus were both big damage dealers here. Machina, obviously Machina works a little better with Brave Gains and launching. But Indolent Lard says, I thought this was a lot more fun than Area. Oh, Cloud of Darkness. Yeah, I saw people use Cloud of Darkness. You can. I did play around with trying to go full defensive with Yuffie and Gladio. It was fun to throw stuff back at. So, but the problem with bringing Yuffie on this one. So I think like the idea behind it, throwing back the debuffs, the ruin debuff was fine. The problem was then they delayed themselves. And if you're doing a defensive counter team, you don't really want to delay yourself. You don't want the boss to delay. You want the boss to take turns. And so Reno Gladio were not really working well with Yuffie because she was causing them to delay. So there might be a good Yuffie team out there. You'd have to try to figure out. Excalibur does remind us Cam's Paralyze does work. I believe Eldnar's Terror works. The actual Paralyze debuff is not effective. So yeah, Cam's BT plus effect does work. The regular Paralyze effects do not work. So, but you cannot launch. So that's how you cannot get the big numbers for Cam. Again, there's a lot going on in this fight, but probably most people were able to set things up and ignore it fairly easily. But I don't know if you saw any discussion on this you want to bring up here, Mino.
So some interesting points. People were talking about how it seems like people were submitting an equal number of offensive teams and defensive
Yeah,
teams.
saw a lot of
Like,
defensive.
yeah, like this fight really allowed for both. You could totally run a Reno Gladio, and I did an Eldnar's team,
Yeah.
or you could run like a Tidus Terra team and blow it the hell up, right? And it seemed like there were a lot of variety of viable teams, which is great.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Excalibur. I did see several edge runs. Edge is really good for this fight too. So if you want
yeah,
to go
like
defensive,
this fight, what I'll give it is people got pretty creative for it. I guess there were just enough mechanics for people to want to play around with. Like some people shut them out completely. Some people let them get counters on purpose so that they could get counters. I saw Yang in there a good amount as well.
Hmm.
And then you could also just normally blow it up. So they must have done something right. They must have struck a balance. I am a little disappointed because I still have the 6 warrior beta in my mind, and the beta was like that was a lot of mechanics.
Yeah.
That was a lot of mechanics that you really, really had to respect. You could not just blow them up. And like
Right.
they switched and you had to switch targeting and everything. I was hoping everything would be like that. But I know like I think
Yeah,
they tame it down more. Yeah, go ahead.
these were more of a problem if you didn't know what they were.
Yeah,
Like
correct.
zombie is a problem if you don't realize it's got zombie and you heal and you're like, oh crap, what happened? But as soon as you realize, oh, it's zombie from this to this threshold, I just don't press a healing button. Then you go back to normal. Yeah, so these were fairly like they seem a little bit more complicated than they were, as opposed to really having to manage the mechanics
Right.
like in the original fight, right?
This would not be so like no, I was expecting 6 warrior quests to be a little more loaded, but it seems like 1 and 2 have been easier than the beta. And I'm disappointed because this is permanent content. If you're
Yeah.
gonna make hard content, permanent content is where you can do it because people can creep it. Tree Void saying 3 and 4 are gonna be closer and to that and be better. But for now, like this could have benefited from more HP too. Like I just think doubling the HP or something would have made the fight more challenging. Because as you said, like, oh well, zombies a threat. Not really. I went in not knowing
No,
what
right.
happened. The HP regen was, knocking me down, but it won't kill you, right?
Right.
So like you always float at 1, but you can always just push the threshold and heal
And
back
heal
up.
back up. Yep.
Yeah, right,
Yep.
right. Like, and
That's what I did.
most people I know, including myself, went in blind, noticed it, and then
Yep.
just, whittled the whale down to the last threshold and just healed back up before the kill. Like, it's not a big deal. I do appreciate the concept though. Like that preventing the brave gain, the Dullahan's thresholds were fun too. The problem is that it was very easy to melt
Yeah.
for a 6-man. Like after the Ultimecia Griever fight, these fights could benefit from more HP. I would not hate if they increased more HP. Cell is saying double the HP is what we've wanted for months. Here's the thing, Cell. I thought the Griever one was very happy, like because I don't look ahead that much, so I don't know when they're gonna spike the numbers. But the Griever one caught me, and not just me. It seems to have caught the community off guard because when I was reading the comments when it came out, people were like, "Is this supposed to have this much HP? Is this the most HP we've ever seen on a boss up to this point?" It is. But people noticed, right? Yeah, so like I thought it would at least continue around that level, but 6-man, man, I don't know. Like that was almost normal
Yeah.
Shinryu levels of. But yeah, it was just like great in theory. Execution was not so great, and I think we said this is something we said a lot towards the end of Garbage Time. Like I like this idea, but it just went down way too fast for it to actually matter, and a lot of people did skip right past the mechanic.
Yeah. Thank you, Illuminasa, for the resub. 28 months. Wow, very cool. Very cool. But yeah, and somebody made the comment of CSDX said 3 warriors with 9 call abilities. Yeah, I mean, as I looked around,
Yeah,
people playing with
true.
it, I mean, it could be, with more HP, with more mechanics, having to actually use all 6 characters instead of having, 9 call abilities and setting up the actual 3 characters that you're going to use. Like I said, Lunafreya can jump in and out. Charlotta can jump in and out. So there's some real cool positioning things you can do if you really had to use multiple characters. Or, like what I was kind of hoping would happen as I was playing it is, okay, like, let me go into a defensive phase and I'll bring my defensive team out, and then go into an offensive phase and I'll bring an offensive team out. But that didn't really happen, right? Like, the defensive team didn't really need to be there, and the offensive team burned through threshold. So, like, I could see that in the future being something really cool where, hey, here's a time that you really need a defensive team in this phase, or now, and then you can bring in the offensive team back, or even bring in certain characters for certain different mechanics. I think there's a lot they can do with it, but I enjoyed it. But like you said, probably a little bit easier.
I want to see what the future brings, because some JP players are saying there are some pretty good 6 warriors. But like, as you just mentioned, like, yeah, most people just run 3 characters and then have the others just tag in and buff. Or as Soraya is saying, it's ridiculous how much stuff you can stack in a 6-man. Right. You like the player potential is so high.
If your boss does not have 8 frame debuffs, you're doing something wrong. It's 6-man.
But basically, right, like, the player portion of strength is so high that the bosses really should be amplified to match that. And the reason why I was so happy about the beta was that most people used more than 3 characters. There are some people who still use the 3 metas, including like Garnet, and stayed on their 3 characters, but like, most of the time you were asked to switch characters around, because like the 2 bosses had wildly differing conditions, right? Like, one needed magic damage, one needed physical damage. They had phases where you had to battery through or brave shave through. Like, that kind of interaction that really forces you to use all the tools. We have so many fucking tools. 6 characters with 6 calls. That's so many options. The fights really could stand to get some steroids or something. Like, I don't know why the devs are so afraid to make challenging fights, but the concept. Oh, go ahead.
No, CSDX says, does Pain swapping positions do anything? Never tried. Pain is a positional character. The problem that she has compared to someone like Lunafreya is Lunafreya has the free turns and the instant turns, so you can position her, use something, and then move her around the field a little bit easier than a character like Pain. And depending on, because she grants buffs instead of auras, Lunafreya can grant buffs in different places depending on where she's putting. So, so I mean, you can, again, if there was a fight designed for like defensive, offensive, then a character like Pain could be interesting to swap in this position defensively, this position offensively, but probably not worth it at this point. But yeah, it would be fun, as Bart says, if you could try to get both LD stacks to 10 by swapping her around. So,
yeah, Pain and Lunafreya, they need more positional characters. That would make 6-man real fun as well. And also Cell. Well, I have Cell here. I don't know why I was so tickled by the Yuffie infographic title. You finders, you keepers. I don't know why that tickled me the right way, and I love that title so much. But Cell, I had a shower thought the other day. Missed opportunity. You should have said, you find it, you keep it. I don't know. I feel like that's better. Feel free to ignore my notes, but every time I have your ear, I'm going to complain about something on the infographic.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Mark.
There you go. Yeah, so Mino, we haven't podcasted since we have not podcasted since the Squex community stream, where we found out we will not
3 weeks.
Yeah, since we since we have not we found out we were not getting Dare to Defy this month. We have an autumn festival, which really is nothing. Like literally free polls and normal stupid stuff that we don't care about. No extra content, no special whatever. So how's your, like, what are your thoughts on, not getting D2D this month? How has it changed your gameplay, your pull plans? How are you approaching the game this month now that
So
we don't have this kind of extra content?
yeah, so I think what Josh said during the stream was, of course, the Dare to Defy and the ticket missions and global were a test,
Yeah,
and they were going to collect feedback from it. So obviously you can't collect feedback instantly and then instantly implement it. So it makes sense we had a gap this month, right? They're probably looking over things as well. Also in the stream, they threw up a poll of who enjoyed Dare to Defy. And
yes.
I think it was about 60-40 or even tighter than that.
I was tighter than that. I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
I think it was like 55-45. So like 55-45, that's a tough call. That might not be enough for it to come back. I'm hoping they're reviewing more of the data, of course. But Josh is like, oh yeah, like I'm all over the community, and that seems to line up what the general consensus is. My last ditch uh, effort of trying to argue for it is that, well, even if it's a tiny majority, the majority enjoy it. That's one. And the second thing is, the people who don't like it, are they, like how much do they not like it? Because if they just don't like the event itself, it
Yeah.
doesn't really hurt them to implement it for the people who like it. Or if they hate it so much they're gonna quit and boycott the game, how many of those people were serious longtime players
Right.
that were paying regularly in the first place? I'm really hoping the data skews and we get it. I just feel like you don't lose anything if you don't like it and you don't want to do it. Whereas when the people that do like it stand to gain a lot from it.
It's, so
Uh,
I did a video kind of sharing, I think, 5 reasons to bring D2D back and then 5 arguments I heard against it. And it was interesting having some conversations in my YouTube comments trying to dig out for the people who were actively against. Like, I hate D2D. It's awful. It's worse content. It's lazy content. Really trying to dig at, okay, why do you hate it? Did you do it? No, I didn't do it. I mean, that was most of the responses. Well, I didn't do it. Well, how I really have a problem with people, like, when it comes to people who want to take other things away from other people. Like, we like D2D, we want more of it. Some people don't like it, they want to take it away from us, but they haven't done it. And they're not going to do it. They didn't do it. Like, that always rubs me the wrong way. Like if you don't like something, fine, don't like it. Like, who cares? Like, go about your life and do whatever you want to do. But to really kind of dig into what's your problem with it? And we've talked about that before, but I hadn't heard a lot of very convincing arguments about why there shouldn't be D2D or why I didn't really like it. I mean, some people using the word hate, a lot of people, I mean, using the word hate. And then again, I didn't do it, or I didn't complete it, or I didn't even try it. I mean, people say I didn't even try it. I don't like lockout content. It's a cash grab. It's making me pull all these kind of things. Whereas, okay, like, well, this is a gotcha game. this is a company. It's a gotcha game. Like, yeah, but and if you don't do it. Like, I don't understand. Yeah. So yeah, and I mean, there were some weird arguments against it that just didn't really set well, but and we don't have it this month. That doesn't mean we're never getting it again. Like Mino said, it just means, as Josh said in chat, on the stream, you got to take some time, look through things. But I mean, I've been very casual this month, right? I've not been
Same.
I've not been super invested in the game because there's not been a lot to do. You do one 15 minutes on a co-op. You, like, if I log in every day, I may have skipped a couple days even. You log in, you run your daily cactar, and then maybe you get half an hour to run an event when an event comes out. But that's it. And that's fine. Like, that's not the end of the world, but it was more fun when there was some other things to do in the game. Some additional content actually
Yeah,
went a long way.
I want to keep it brief because we've talked about it a lot,
Yeah.
in the past. But it's just that, like, like Mark, I've just been playing a little less. There's just more things going on now. Like,
Yeah.
it's starting to get into a busier season. There's just way more shit to do outside of the game now. Um, so it's not all Defoe's fault, but like after I've seen Dare to Defy and the ticket missions, it could be better. I wish they didn't take away the ticket missions as well. Like introducing both and then taking both away is such a stark difference. At least we know the ticket missions will be back in JP, because those are permanently implemented in JP. And it's just that the way I feel about it is some of the other talk shows this month that I've like kind of listened or guested on, like they're all saying like it's starting to be so that even if your show is bi-weekly, it's hard to talk about Defo
Yeah.
that long anymore. It really is. Like Defo content is technically getting thinner.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay.
We covered
but it's
covered
just-
4
it's-
events.
It is getting
We covered 4 events in an hour and a half.
Like, yeah, like it's getting thinner, and we know it'll get even thinner when there's 4 events a month, exactly 1 a week. Like I don't think a weekly show would be viable at that point.
I do not get the hate of D2D from streamers. People who stream this game, like that is easy content.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer. You want more content, more challenging things. It just seems like a no-brainer. But yeah, no, I like. What do you?
Yeah.
What? And there's no one streaming. Like when D2D was up that month, there was big numbers streaming. People were streaming the game. Like find somebody streaming it now. Besides us.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, as somebody who usually plays difficult games and difficult content, like why are you mad that, from what I can tell, I don't want to get too into it, but because Mark was saying he's finding like weird arguments. The only arguments that I've found that I have a problem with, the main one is most people seem to hate it because they can't do it.
Yeah.
And even the people who quote unquote did it, they had to like think outside of the box. And then I found very few people who've completed it legitimately say that they have a problem with it. Here's the thing. They're like, oh, this is lazy content because it's just the same fight with more restrictions that make it harder. I don't understand that argument, because are you saying all difficulty levels are like lazy? Because then you could say, oh, Lunafreya is just a lazy thing from Chaos, because guess what? It's the same fight, but the fights are harder and there's an extra restriction of the orb. Actually, you know what? That has been said, so I take it back. There's something wrong with this community, and it just seems like there's something wrong with the player base, that if they meet a wall of things they can't do, they just hate the game. And so I'm saying this complaint that we're talking about, you see it every time there's a new era. When Lunafreya came, when Shinryu came, it's like, oh shit, I hate this now because the fights are longer and harder, and I can't stomp them anymore. I'm gonna quit the game. And that just feels like what Dare to Defy is. It's harder. People can't like stomp with the same team over and over, so they fucking hate it, because I don't want content in the game that I can't do. Right? Like, it's okay. I don't care if you hate Dare to Defy, but to ask for it to be taken away because you can't do it, that's the stupidest fucking thing. And it's just that, let it exist for the more hardcore players, right? Because when it does exist, Mark was asking, how do I play the game differently now? Like I said, I was like, there's so many characters now, and I don't really want to use them all on these easy stomp fights, right? Like, I don't have fun. Like, I fucking crushed the part 1 fight. I don't want to crush it again with different characters, right? Like, that's not challenging. Like, with the super fat HP part 2, sure, I'll run it a couple of times to experiment. But like with the lockout content, we're thinking about the fights more. Because we can't bring the meta characters, we're thinking, what other characters can go here? How do I engage the mechanics? Oh, here are the thresholds. Like, how is this threshold going to be different, the delay threshold, if I have to actually use delay characters and they get locked out? Or how is the heal force time in the COD fight going to be different if I can't kill it before it activates. I actually have to deal with it. I feel like these restrictions increase difficulty. They make you think about the fights more. They make you engage with the game more. They make you think about the characters more. I know a lot of people who pulled more for Dare to Defy, both casual and more hardcore.
Yeah.
Casual because they needed more tools to beat them. Hardcore because they wanted to play around more, right? You have the super whales like Goose who always just pull and invest in things that they don't need just to do these challenges. I just feel like it's healthy for the game. As you said, there are more streams, there are more views, there's more conversation.
Yep.
Like why do you want to kill the game? Why do you want to drive out all the hardcore players?
It's such a weird game too when it comes to mobile games and mobile gotchas. Defo is such a weird game because right now, and it's just going to get like with the co-op tickets and everything else. Right now, like at the end of the day, even logging in, like the daily rewards aren't that exciting, right? So really, like in Japan, there's one event a week. So Defo is really a game where you sit down and you play it for an hour, and that's all you do for an entire week, right? I mean, at the end of the day, without D2D, that's it. You have one event, maybe an event takes you an hour, maybe less, depending on the event, and then you're done. And the fights are longer, right? I mean, it's not, you know, I'll get to another example, but you're basically logging in once a week and setting time for, you know, a short block of time to do content. That's a very different model than almost any other gacha game, any other mobile game that tries to get you to play constantly. For example, the other game that I've been playing, the Attack on Time, I've been playing that for about 6 months. There are 4, 5. There are 5 PvP events ongoing.
Yeah.
And so for me to play this game, and now this game does not have the Attack on Time game, which the gacha rates are much harder. It's much more pay to win. Like, it's everything wrong with gacha, right? Some terrible Chinese company made this game. It's an awful game. You shouldn't play it. But you know, so I log on when I get up in the morning and I kind of do my daily things. Takes a few minutes to do that. Again, you're not investing a huge amount of time to play this game. But then at 8:00, I have to log on to one of the it's you compete with everybody across 3 servers to kind of grab onto mines and generate income, and you can fight each other's mines and stuff like that. So that you can do that 3 times a day. So then I'm going back to do 3 times a day to make sure that all my mines are checked. But I want to be on at a certain time to kind of get the early ones. Then you have to go back at like 9:00 and do your guild wars and do that for the day. You can't do that until 9:00. And then you have 11:00 and 5:00 where you get your co-ops basically are open for a short period of time. And then you have like a boss fight that's only in a couple different hours of time. So basically the game is not making you, but the game has things for you to log on every day, multiple times a day. And that's how gachas work. That's how mobile games work. They want you to come in, invest a few minutes several times a day. Or Candy Crush, you know, you play a little bit, oh, now you got to wait, then you come back, play it. That's how they get you, right? That's how they want you to play. A few minutes here and there. Defo is a very different game. That almost seems like they don't want you to play it. Like it's something like they don't want you to play it. Like, I mean, again, in JP, it's one event a week. Very, very different. So D2D really does help, I think, make it much more of again, it doesn't need to be your life, but, you know, to give you something to do for a game we really do like and really do enjoy, that's much more fulfilling than a lot of other games like that.
This actually ties in perfectly with one of our questions. And like I don't think we're gonna have time for all the questions. You guys gave us a lot of great questions during our break. Like, a lot of these are legitimately good questions I want to cover. So apologies if we don't cover them. We'll do it in a later show. But this ties into one of the questions that we could just knock out right now. Because so multi-racial lion asks, how do you feel about the JP devs stating that they want people to play other games? how has this affected your attitude towards defo, if at all? So what that means is, to address what you're saying, is that in the Ope Ope, where they announced that they were changing their schedule,
Yeah.
based on player feedback to go to one a week and stuff like that. To paraphrase, what they said was that they know that people, or at least probably the Japanese player base, they play lots of gachas, right? And one of the things they've gotten a complaint is that defo takes too much time. I know that's shocking. That's shocking to a lot of our audience that lives on this game and does nothing but play this game. But to the average like JP player, apparently they said they got a lot of feedback saying that defo takes up too much time. And by that they mean, actually cleaning up the co-op shop every time and doing all this, everything. Like, if you honestly do all that, that's a lot of hours a week. Obviously there's only like an event or two a week, but when you're doing all the grind and stuff, it adds up. So they said that they know it's a very competitive market in the mobile gaming, and like a lot of people play multiple, and so their strategy, to paraphrase, is to have defo aim to be kind of like a side game that you check into. So like, because they're saying like when there's like 2 or 3 games like Mark's crazy ass fucking game he just talked about that's like so demanding of your time, you're always going to end up choosing one or two over the others. Whereas if defo quote unquote respects your time, then it's not very demanding to also play defo on top of these other games. So that's why they had they introduced the skip tickets to reduce the grind, and they spaced the events out more, et cetera, et cetera. At least that was their excuse. I don't know if that's the truth. That's what they say.
Right.
So Lion's saying, like, what do you think about this strategy of being a quote unquote side game? And does this change your attitude towards defo at all? I'll go first and I'll throw it to Mark, but like, I don't think it's the worst strategy. Obviously, this isn't my profession, but I don't think it's the worst strategy because that works for me and Mark. We talk about this all the time. One of the reasons I play defo is because I'm not crazy like Mark. I could never set my fucking alarm clock to a game again, which is apparently what he's doing with Attack on Time, right? Like, that's crazy. Like, I play defo because I can forget to log in a day and I won't be severely punished, or I only need to log in an auto for like 3 minutes a day to keep up with the dailies. Like, that's what keeps me around. I feel like that's what keeps a lot of people around. So the fact that they're trying to stick to that niche and not demand your time all the time to make sure it's still in your rotation, I respect that. I don't know if it'll work out, but I think that it's always been that kind of game.
Yeah.
But what do you think, Mark?
Yeah, well, I'm not saying like there was a time in mobile games that I did play competitively, guild-based mobile games, where like during raids and stuff, right? You were setting your clock every 4 hours or every 2 hours for an entire weekend. Like I've done that. Yes, I am not doing that in the current game. I'm just saying that's how the game's designed, right? And so generally speaking, it's a few minutes here and there, and you check it, when you're waiting in line, and you can kind of do things quickly. But yeah, I guess it's a strategy, and if it works, it works. It's just a very different strategy than any other mobile game, right? I mean, it's just a very different strategy. And so, I have a feeling that it's probably not the best strategy, but I don't know.
I'm sure
I don't know.
I'm sure they're not aiming for like first place in the App Store, right?
Right.
Like, clearly they're nowhere close. So I'm sure they're aiming for stability at this point.
Yeah.
Just steady income, which is perfectly fine. I'm not sure if you had more to say on that, but Deathstroth saying they shouldn't reduce content, to be honest, just reduce the co-op grind. So here's the thing,
Just
though.
don't do it.
It's hard to make new fights and content, but it's easy to make a grind. And even if you play the famous big MMOs like WoW and FF14, most of that is grind, guys.
Yeah.
Most of it is not new content. Most of it is grind. And here's and to tie it back to Dare to Defy, one of the biggest stupid complaints that I see all the time that I fucking hate is I hate Dare to Defy and I don't want it because it takes away time to develop other content. First of all, there's zero evidence that that is a thing. All right, it's not always a bucket of they make Dare to Defy, so they're not making Abyss. Bullshit,
Yeah,
right?
it's not good.
Like, you'll always hear about different dev teams having like different developers free to do different things, and side projects will come in and stuff like that. First of all, there's no fucking evidence that Dare to Defy detracts from other things. So if you can have it and it's a low effort way to put more life into the game, why not? Right? Like, give us more to do with the game with the existing content. Like, it's such an easy solution. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't. It just seems weird, right? Um, that they wouldn't want you to play the game, but you know, it is what it is. I don't. I will say this, and for people who are like grinding in Defo, don't clear the freaking co-op shop. What? Like, why are you clearing the co-op shop? Like, how many freaking like somebody had like maxed something stupid the other day. I guess if you're bored, you got to do what you got to do. But like, there's no reason to do like more than 5 co-ops.
Newer
Spend
players
your.
probably.
Oh yeah, newer players need the crystals. But yeah, I mean, if you're been playing for a few months, like you don't need the co-op shop. Every once in a while, like I'm so bad at it, like I gotta go and run, stupid crystal quests for 5 minutes because I don't have enough regular crystals. but like yeah, I mean, I have not cleared a co-op quest probably this year. Cleared a co-op shop. I'm not getting the crystals. Like, why? Like, we're almost all at C90 now. And we're gonna start getting them up. So, yeah. It's not grindy, man. Because yeah, I mean, we can talk. Even if you did clear the co-op shop, you're talking, run 5 bells a day. I remember some people running, waiting for their bells to refresh and running 10 bells a day. That was a Jin Lee thing, I think, right? Jin used to do that, but like, yeah, come on. Even then, you're talking 30 minutes a day. That's not terrible grind. I've been in some real grindy games. That's not not a grind.
Devil's advocate, Mark. Like, 'cause I'll think the same way too. But it is like I've the counter argument I've seen a lot, and these are fair counter arguments. One is that newer or returning players do need the crystals,
Yeah,
so they'll grind it. You also have the crazies like
that's
Asim
why they're there.
Who will grind it for the refined spheres.
Hmm.
But also saying it's not much of a grind because other games are grindier is not a great defense, just because, as we both know, so many of Defo players are very new to this, right? And they latched onto this because it isn't as grindy as others. So yeah, like, we've seen way worse grinds, but I would not say Defo is not grind, right? Because I know I've failed to start JP many times because of the summon boards, the
Sure.
divine boards, and then the all the like there is a
it has had a grind, right? But at
Yeah.
this point in the game, it's not. If you're a veteran player, I think that's what I'm saying. If you're a veteran player, there's not much of a grind. Right. If you're a new player, obviously the proverbial new player, there's a lot of content to catch up on. But if you're a veteran player, and that's what we're talking about D2D, if you're a veteran player, there's not much of a grind, not much to do. That extra little content really was a blessing. So bring back D2D. I think that's the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that good, or do you want to do a couple more questions, Mino?
Do we have time? I thought we were going over. Am I crazy?
Yeah, no, we're right at the 2-hour mark.
Oh yeah, you like to end at the 2-hour mark because
I
of
do.
the file size and stuff. So no worries. A lot of great questions, guys. We're gonna keep them all. We'll answer them next week because a lot of these are legitimately good. No, I'm serious. I don't know what you guys are wondering why I keep saying that. It's because usually we get a lot of hot garbage, and I have to delete a lot of this stuff. like, oh, do you prefer the smell of Todd's feet or like Lunafreya's feet? Usually it's questions of that caliber, but these are good ones. We'll get to all of them, and they spark great discussions. So, the break has been good for all of us. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mino. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everybody who's live on Twitch and YouTube. Remember, check out our sponsor, Manscaped, manscaped.com, TCC Pod at checkout. Thank you for all who subbed and resubbed. Appreciate that. We will probably see you next week, and we'll clearing up what we have left here in Yuri cycle. So for Mino and for myself, this has been episode 206 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded September 15th, 2022. Until next time, friends, good luck on all your polls, good luck on all your fights, and we'll see you around. Goodbye. All right, we're in the post show. Post-showy. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us.
Damn it. There were some good YouTube comments I didn't catch. Fuck.
Yeah.
You should have been read. If you guys are still around, Hobo Sandwich was saying FOMO makes some in this community ugly. I've never walked into a gacha expecting to beat everything, especially if I'm starting at the beginning if I'm not starting from the beginning or willing to spend. And then a lot of people are saying the COD 6-man at the end of Act 3 is quite a good fight. So we'll look forward to that.
Okay.
I don't know. It's rough. Like, I always remember, I think, like, BC said this a while ago, because we're always saying, yeah, from a veteran's perspective, there's not much to grind. There's not this. But he's right. I think many players, like, Shinryu is their first tuning pass or something.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
so many people are so new that you can't really just be like, we're veterans, we're done, right? Like, because there's a lot of people still playing catch up, I guess.
No, well, right, and you always want new players, right? But you have to bridge that balance between like there is no catch up like in other games. Like, I mean, in this game, the other game I play, you don't catch up. You start a new server. Like, that's how they work. Like, there's no catching up. Like, you can't come onto my server and catch up. Like, there's no way you catch up. Like, so the fact that this is a game, you
like
can.
In the gaming says too. Yeah, there's like hundreds of fucking lost chapters too. I forgot.
There's
so much content when you start fresh. And this is just a thing that I've been saying recently about other games, because it's like FF14, a lot of people jumped on and the Endwalker boom. And then like Josepher, right? And a lot of them are jumping into like a 9-year-old game and saying, "Oh my god, there's so much content."
So much to do.
And then you catch up. And you realize, wait, there isn't. Like, of course, when you're going through like a 9-year backlog, everything seems huge. But once you're caught up, because you were talking about this with Defo, it's the same with any game. Once you're caught up, you're always gonna
but I'm not going, and I'm sure there are people are, but I'm not going on Final Fantasy 14 Reddit and saying, hey, stop doing new Savage raids because I haven't caught up yet. Like, right? That would be bullshit. That's stupid. Like, there needs to be something for crazy people to do, right? There needs to be something new for the people who have all caught up to do, and that's what they do every 3 months. They give you new raids and new quests, right? Like, I haven't caught up to that point. I'm still working on Endwalker, right? I'm in the past. I time traveled.
Whoa, spoilers! Just in case for anybody in chat. Yeah, I haven't been able to make a few sessions, and I won't make next week. So I was gonna actually ask you how that was going.
Yeah, we time traveled, so that's where we are. we saw the space rabbits. That was weird, and now it's bad, and we traveled in time. A lot going on. Real anime vibe going on in Final Fantasy Endwalker 14 Endwalker. So
yeah, I felt like Endwalker was too anime.
A little over the top.
It's gonna get a little more anime. Here, like, things still keep going. You're only like halfway through. It gets crazier. But yeah. I don't know. It's tough. I still like defo, but like
Yeah.
people are treating it like it needs to be a full-time game. It just really doesn't.
No, and I don't. I mean, I think we've always said that I certainly don't need it to be any more grindy. But I did like I like Dare to Defy because then it gave us another thing to do. It wasn't overwhelming, right? But it was something, especially if again you're talking one thing a week. You're going down from basically 6 events to 4 events a month.
Right.
Something like D2D could really just add another layer to that, or even make it like
I
a 2.
couldn't agree more. And
Yeah.
oh, sorry. Yeah, it was like, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I feel like we're beating a dead horse. I feel like we've talked about D2D so many times, but I always get riled up when it fucking comes up again. It's just like, yeah, just give us more content. Like, obviously, if developing content on a weekly basis is tough, just give us more iterations. I think I enjoy D2D and the ticket missions so much that I am like disappointed going forward if it doesn't come back. Like a regular month, like this month, just feels so underwhelming, and we know that we'll have a few months that are just like stomps left and right.
Right.
There are some like OPS characters like Tifa and Renoa that will just like steamroll their cycles and months, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, just give us it seems like it costs nothing. I'm not a programmer. It just feels like there's very little opportunity cost to just keep doing Dare to Defy. I really hope they talk about it this upcoming stream. Please talk about it. At least bring back the ticket missions, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
give me something. Yeah.
Although I forget, I will say I do forget to do the challenge quests for the Lufania and the Chaos, and often have to go back and do them because I forgot to bring boosted characters. Not because
Yeah, I know, that's
not because
funny.
they're hard. They're not hard at
Yeah.
all. They're super
Yeah.
super easy. I just forget to actually bring boosted characters. Or every once in a while I bring a friend just because I feel bad that I never use friend units. So I just bring friend units so people can get their, pittance. And then like, oh yeah, don't bring a friend. Oh, there you go. So yeah. Yeah, because those aren't real challenging. Like at this point, Lufania is not real challenging with your FRBT characters in the hopper there. They're a little too powerful.
Yeah, and just like months like these, it's a normal month, but the veteran community considers it like a slow month or an off month. Like we're kind of just like relaxing, and the reality of it is like when it's slower and easier like this, the veteran community is just not active. They're just not talking as
Nope.
much. They're not like streaming as much. They're not posting as much. It's real quiet. And as I've said many times, for games that are over the hill and older like Defo, you got to appeal to your veterans and your hardcore, because these casuals either aren't going to be around a long or haven't been around a long time, and they're going to complain about everything anyways.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like, why not like cater to the people who love the game still and want to engage it and advertise it for you for free. Give us, like talk show hosts something to talk about, stream more, your game's out there more. Like the casual runners they complain about everything anyways. So, why even listen? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I yeah. The loudest voices are not always the majority, and the loudest voices are not always the right voices. Put it that way, I guess. So
Yeah. And luckily, I know Josh knows that too. And I'm sure he'll sort through the data. I'm just hoping the data is on our side. We'll see.
yeah.
All right. Anything else, Mark? Or can I go eat?
I think that's good. Yeah, go eat. We'll talk to you later. Thank you everybody on stream.